What's up, guys? Welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. And today is another Q&A. So let's begin right now with the questions and answers. Let's go. The first question by Tahiti Music is, do you have any advice to get rid of my love handles? Well, actually, I personally notice that when I gain more fat, when my lean bulk goes a little too far, that I also get these love handles, which means basically you have your waist right here for a male, and then it starts to accumulate the fat right at the bottom of your waist. That creates the love handles for your girl to hold on to. That's what they're called like that. But how you get rid of them is simply by losing your body fat. You cannot do spot fat reduction in any possible way. You can only do temporary water reduction there, but as I said, it's temporary. If you want a permanent solution, lose as much body fat as is needed until those love handles are gone. I have that same problem, but it's simply where most men store their fat. For women, it's their butt and their legs. For men, it's their stomach. So you gotta deal with it until you lose the body fat. Next question by Marnix Stortelder. Hey Wesley, how do you estimate your calorie intake? What kind of formula do you use? You saying your maintenance is at 5,000 calories. On a cut, what you do a 500 deficit. Well, first of all, on a cut or a lean bulk, I like to either decrease or increase with about 250. For the regular person, this really counts, because if you want to make all your gains stay right where they are, especially when you're going to cut from a lean bulking phase, you don't want to drop 500 or even more right away for a long period of time. At least what I notice is that the slower the progress goes, the longer it actually stays like that. The faster it goes, the more muscle will actually also disappear when you're cutting, for example. So a lot of people want results fast, but when you slow down the progress, your metabolism will actually keep increasing, as when you speed it up, your body will say, ho ho ho, this is going too fast, I'm going to stop this metabolism from going so fast, and I'm going to burn less energy. So eventually you will actually be at the same caloric deficit, except you think you're 500 below, but your metabolism has already decreased your metabolism. Your energy expenditure, I mean. I like to go down 250 calories in order to preserve as much muscle mass as I can. Just look at the scale and see if you don't lose more than a pound or 500 grams a week. For most people that is good. Some people can lose more and hold on to all the muscle, but this is a general advice. If you know your own body better, you should follow your own advice. And how do I estimate my caloric intake? The formula that I use is the Harris and Benedict formula. When you fill this in, you can simply Google it, fill in all your numbers, your weight, your height, your age, whether you're a male or female. And then there's a number there, and that's your basal metabolic rate, which means that's how many calories you burn when you're sitting still. Then you multiply it with an activity factor, and this is where expertise comes in. Because a lot of people like to think they're more active than they are. For example, when they work out a lot, they think, oh, my activity should be about 1.7 multiplier. But in reality, it's like 1.5. And that little difference actually makes a big difference at the end number of energy your body would need. So yes. Next question by Massives. Wesley, do vitamin B12 needles help? I think you mean vitamin B12 injections. I heard some people do it with other B vitamins. I personally have no knowledge about why you should do that, but vitamin B12 is one of those vitamins that your body actually stores for years. Especially when you're eating meat, you will actually store it inside of your body, and can literally, even if you don't take any B16 for years, it can still be in your body, stored and being used, as you're not taking in any yourself. So an injection of that, I don't think it would be necessary. Next question by Carlito Brigante. What would you recommend for learning more about nutrition? Your efficiency with nutrition is very impressive and I'd really like to learn more. Well, I personally study nutrition and dietetics, from which I gained a portion of my knowledge, but the rest is through experience, seeing what works for myself and what works for others. And also because I'm helping people making nutrition plans, it actually teaches me a lot about how they respond to foods, what their preferences are, what happens to their bodies. So it's a learning process all the way through, and I have, it's just an innate interest from within. So whenever I see an article, for example, you're scrolling Facebook and there's an article about nutrition, I click on it and I read it, and then I gain a knowledge. And if you do this every single day, if you're interested in it, you will become knowledgeable about it. Question by Hussein. He actually asked me this through email. I have a question about metabolism. I noticed that it is really hard for me to lose weight by traditional cutting, where each few weeks you reduce the calories by 200, for example. For me, I have to eat 800 to 1000 calories to lose weight, which I find really impossible to do. I have lost weight over time, but I can't actually cut. So my question is, how low can someone's metabolism be, and how can I figure out what is a safe calorie range to cut? When you're doing any kind of sport, your caloric needs are actually increased as opposed to a regular person who's not doing that sport, because you actually expend that energy, you need the energy to recover. And we can all know that a range from 800 to 1000 calories is way too low. And what I think happened is that as you went lower, as you wanted to see more progress in the mirror or on the scale, you kept going lower before the progress actually came, and your body is like, hey, I'm getting less and less food, let's slow things down. And this is kind of a negative cycle that you're in, that you can't really get out of, because you won't see progress because your metabolism is slowing down, and because you don't see progress, you go lower and lower and lower with the calories. So what I want you to do is start ramping up the calories slowly again, but adding cardio, making sure you work out hard, making sure you're not sitting on the couch all day. You want your metabolism to speed up once again to get to a normal level, and then you can eat plenty of calories and still cut. It's all about the metabolism. But I do think that cardio plays a major role in this, especially when you're doing it fasted, because it has been proven that doing cardio in the morning actually increases your metabolism for the rest of the day. When you do this consistently, it will increase over time even more. So that is one tip for you. Of course, there are people with metabolic syndromes, certain illnesses that cause your metabolism to be really slow, or to cause you to gain fat really fast. But as long as you don't have that, then my advice should be applicable to you. But if you do, I should not be the one to advise you. Next question by Lars Kruithof. I haven't been progressing in any of my major lifts for months now. I train 6 times a week. So should I train less and more a powerlifting style training, or just 6 times a week and less exercises? I personally noticed the same thing about a year ago, when my lifts just started to stall. For example, the bench press at about 140 kilos. And I kept wanting to go beyond that weight, but I just couldn't. The reps really wouldn't go up. And what I noticed, it was simply a lack of rest. Mentally, you might be able to go to the gym all the time, especially when taking pre-workouts and when it's really on your mind, that you really are obsessed with the training. But I cut down my training frequency from 6 times a week to 5 times a week, and my exercise frequency to about 4 exercises for a muscle group and 3 for a smaller, instead of 5 or more exercises. So my total volume has gone down a little bit, and my frequency of training has gone down, and my food intake has gone up. That could also be a limiting factor in your progress, because if you don't get enough calories, if you're not in a caloric surplus, it's going to be very difficult to make any progress strength-wise or muscle-wise. And if you don't rest enough, you won't be able to recover your nervous system enough for it to produce enough power to your muscles to contract them hard enough to be able to do more weight. So I suggest doing 5 trainings a week, eating plenty enough, making sure you get enough rest, and reducing the exercises if necessary. Next question by Donald M. Can your body be achieved naturally? This is a trick question, a tricky question. Why? Because it is not possible to answer. Really, we are so different that one could really win regional shows, bodybuilding contests without ever even hearing of drugs, and one could use all the drugs in the world and not achieve one single victory. There is so much difference genetically that you cannot really advise people about what they can achieve. But what I can say is that your potential as a natural bodybuilder is so much higher than you think. I don't understand. My personal story is that when I started training, I trained because I loved to go to the gym. I loved to train. I loved to see my body progress. I loved to become stronger. Not once did I think about speeding this process up, because it was fun regardless of what happened. I just loved the training. I just loved my body going through those motions and being actually doing a sport, knowing it's healthy, etc. So in my transformation video from 14 to I think 23 years that I posted a while ago, which has quite a lot of views, which I'm happy about, but a lot of the comments say that I must have started using the anabolic chicken around 18 or 19 years old. That tells me that that physique to people is at the edge of what is believed to be natural or not. But I can tell you one thing. That physique can be achieved naturally by most people. Just be consistent and don't let it enter your mind that you would need it to achieve a good physique. Just enjoy the training. If you don't enjoy the training, just don't do it. And don't do it for the wrong reasons. The most successful guys are the ones who start training not even thinking about trying to change anything but train hard, eat good, and rest enough. That is all it takes to become a great bodybuilder, to get a great physique. I cannot really go specific into the details here, as many of you understand, but I just want you to understand that don't doubt yourself. Naturally, you can achieve so much more. And there's a whole debate on when are you natural or not, but there's so much controversy about this topic, but I do think it needs to be discussed in a proper way so that we all know what we're talking about. I hope this helps a little bit. Next question by Robert Blacks here. Hey man, I'm new to the whole working out scene, and I was wondering if you could take a protein shake on your off days from the gym, or would your body somehow store it as fat? Well, a protein shake is, well, the only thing it really is something convenient and something that provides you with the highest possible quality protein. Those two factors are very important in a lot of people's lives, because it is sometimes difficult to always eat meals and have a complete source of protein with a high enough leucine content, which is what triggers your muscles to grow. Leucine is an amino acid. That taking a shake every now and then is very useful. Sometimes I even have a meal of carbohydrates, and when I don't have fish or any other protein source in the house, I drink a shake next to it. Just make sure that the shake is of a reputable brand, a good brand, so that there's no sugar, no added fats, nothing to it, just the protein. And it's no problem to drink it on your off days, as long as you don't want to gain fat, so don't go above your caloric needs. And then you're pretty safe. And it's very good that you're taking in the protein that you need on the rest day, because then you're actually recovering. Last question of the day by Alan Sial. I love watching your videos. The way you talk and project a humble and positive energy is really nice to watch compared to other channels. Well, thank you very much. I want to ask about the incomplete proteins. Does it count in your macros? And is it true that you have to combine two different incomplete proteins to make it a complete protein? Well, as for your last question, it is possible. You, for example, have brown rice and brown beans. Brown rice misses the amino acids that brown beans do have. And when you combine them, it's a complete amino acid profile. It's just that the amount of protein isn't very high. That's usually the problem in the plant-based diet, which is why adding a leucine supplement next to it might be very beneficial in some cases. There's always soy-based protein, of course, which is a complete amino acid and actually already has enough leucine to give you all the muscle protein synthesis that you need. Whey is higher, but this range right here doesn't really do much else for you because it's the range from here, where soy is right here, that actually causes the muscle growth to happen. So, do I count incomplete protein towards my macros? Yes, I do. Why? Because it's, at the same time it's simple, and at the same time it's complicated, because when you're in the morning eating, for example, a plant-based meal that is incomplete, and then the meal afterwards, which is about 2 hours later or so, you eat a meal with a complete protein, those two meals could still combine and give you all the amino acids that you need. It's really about the complete protein consumption over the entire day that is the most important. And you do want to see that most of your products that you use are complete protein so that your leucine count remains high. But if that's the case, then you don't have to worry about not having to count the incomplete proteins, because they are proteins too. For muscle building, it really is all about leucine, so as long as that is in your diet enough, you will be fine. Alright guys, that was the Q&A of today. If you have any other questions, ask me down below for the next Q&A, which you will write down, and the most interesting questions, or the most questions that get the most likes, stuff like that, will get chosen, and I will answer them in the next Q&A. And I want to thank you for watching, and don't forget to stay golden.